switched off. The basic principle is that you're putting more of the kilowatt hours into the heater and getting it down to the floor. We put in excess of 80% of every kilowatt we combust on the floor as heat in the first 2 meters. And you know the interesting thing, when you look at heat stratification, it's almost totally eradicated. It will be about the same temperature in the roof as it is on the floor. The real secret here is that because you get rid of this heat stratification, you remember the hot air difference between floor and roof, you can actually put the sensor in the roof because you have no more than 1.5 degrees difference between floor and ceiling. In fact, the hottest place in that building during the winter is the floor. And when you walk through there, you get a feeling of heat coming at you from the floor. Every individual zone of heating is controlled from a box by a microprocessor called a satellite unit. And in the office, we have the software which does the energy management reporting and the controlling of the system. And again, we could run this system from Timbuktu. It wouldn't make any difference. As long as we can dial into it and see the screen, we can run the system from there. This system controls the temperature inside the building within 1 degree, any one of the buildings. And that means it runs at 19.5 maximum, 18.5 minimum. And it's beating away at 19 degrees all day, every day.
Behind me is that giant Caterpillar factory, and there's almost 1 million cubic metres of space, and in the winter it's got to be kept warm for the workers to be able to do their work properly. How does it work? Well, we can't get the sun in through the roof, so inside are lots and lots of different suns all over the place, and they're controlled, of course, these days by a computer.
And they just phone us up and say, we'd like the system raised, 2 degrees or whatever in that area, because, you might be changing a work pattern or something. So we can just dial straight into the system and change it online.
And so, for most of the time, most of those heaters are not on at all, and that saves energy.
My main role was overseeing the actual installation, which also included building the units and fitting them, and finding a way to get them into the buildings, hang them in the air, find space for them, put them in without causing too much upset. And obviously we had to work around the people who are still obviously trying to produce in the building. So a lot of the work we did was out of hours during the night. We'd bring the units in and fit them.
They have been very good to work with. Our people have commented positively in the office, for example, on a better environment. So it's done that, and we're spending less money on gas as a result.
The difference with the system we have is that 84% of what we put in ends up as radiant hitting the floor. So we're putting in on average 2.5 times as much energy onto the floor as conventional systems. But the other thing that makes it even more interesting is the fact that we do it with about 40 or 50% less gas. So you're getting a ratio of about 5:1 in performance, and that's basically how the energy savings are made. There is no magic, it's the efficiency of the product that's doing it.
They've actually delivered greater cost savings than they guaranteed. We've come in significantly below the guaranteed cost. So in that regard, very well done program. I think as a businessman to a businessman, I'd put a challenge out there in that we can protect the environment, improve our planet, and improve our profits. They are not mutually exclusive. I think this program is an excellent demonstration of that.
And radiant heat go down, boom, heats up the floor, and then the heat begins to rise. And so once these things are on, each compartment in the factory can be kept as warm as it need be. And that saves a vast amount of energy. And if we save energy, we also stop vast amounts of carbon dioxide going up there into the global greenhouse. Everything Globe Energy says is good scientific common sense. You use the radiant energy and you control it properly, exactly where it's needed. So we're on the road to a cleaner, greener future.